Hello, and welcome back to What's New Today, the program where you learn everything you need to know in your life. I'm your host, Marisol Cespedes, and today's topic, how the agricultural and livestock sector affects the environment. This is our first episode of our 2021, and I'm sure we'll have a great time. First of all, let me introduce two of the most recognized experts on today's topic. Natalia Gomez, she's an expert in climate change adaptation in the agricultural sector. Also, we have Kevin Quiroz. He is an expert in the field of productive alternatives.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here today with you. I am so passionate about this topic, and I think we can have a really interesting conversation highlighting key aspects. I'm Natalia Gomez. I'm an environmental engineer and currently working as a technical advisor in climate change adaptation. And well, a little bit about me is that I started working in the agricultural sector as a research assistant in the Soil Hydrological Lab of the Costa Rica Institute of Technology, where we study soil physicochemistry and its relation to human activities and pollutants movement. And on the other hand, I started working in climate change adaptation as a technical assistant in an United Nations Environment Program project called Plan A Resilient Territories to Climate Change, where we worked with local governments to increase their climate adaptation capacity to face climate events, taking into account their agricultural sector, of course. Thank you very much for having me here today.
Well, great. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so happy and excited to discuss this topic with you. As Mari said, my name is Kevin Quiroz. I'm agribusiness engineer, and I'm currently the production supervisor at CRIC, or Costa Rica Insect Company. We have dedicated ourselves to making healthy, nutritious, and sustainable raw material based on insect for human consumption, basically to in order to combat malnutrition, food insecurity, and climate change. That's what I do.
Okay, it's not a secret that the livestock industry is the source of a broad spectrum of environmental impacts. The first and most important is climate change. In one report of FAO, it is estimated that 80% of global greenhouse gas emissions are caused by the livestock industry. On the other hand, agricultural has been causing in the same way a bunch of problems that affect us, such as deforestation, degradation of land, biodiversity. A lot of the species are becoming extinct. So, Natalia, what do you think about it? Is there a possibility to change this situation?
Thank you, Marisol. Well, actually, we can also have the data about the greenhouse gases emitted in our own country. According to the National System of Climate Change Metrics, the emissions that come from livestock are around 17 percentage and from agriculture are around 11 percentage of the total 10,881 gigagrams of the carbon dioxide equivalent emitted by the different sectors of our country. But indeed, worldwide, agriculture is one of the main emitters of greenhouse gases due to activities such as the one that you already said, including deforestation, agrochemicals application, use of fossil fuels in machinery, and land degradation. And also, as you might know, the soils are the largest terrestrial reservoir of carbon. So if we degrade our soils, we are also emitting more carbon dioxide. And it is estimated that agricultural production will have to increase by 70% by 2050, when according to projections, the planet's population will exceed 10 billion inhabitants. So this is really challenging because if our agricultural systems continue to be the same as they are now, which future will we have? Well, maybe we can think about a future where there is no available land to ensure food to all the population. Also, that increases the gaps between different societies. Also, a future where there is no available water to ensure food, and where there are not healthy ecosystems to ensure life. So another really interesting aspect is that the agricultural sector is one of the most vulnerable to climate change events. It has been reported that the sector losses due to climate events are up to 418,859,704 and it was between 2000 and 2018, being the sector with the most damage after the infrastructure sector here in Costa Rica. So the sector influences the program, but at the same time, it is affected by it. And here is where we look for solutions to mitigate and to adapt to climate change in the agricultural sectors. Actions that are totally linked to good agricultural practices, which put people, biodiversity, and climate at the heart of the system. And from my side, I have been working in ecosystem-based adaptation with farmers of a small scale, where we have seen how those practices increase productivity, but also protect ecosystems. And there are many other projects trying to support agriculture in that transition, including the project called Adaptados that help farms to implement change adaptation measures.
Okay, Kevin, do you think we have the power in our hands in order to decrease all the impacts?
Well, of course, I believe we have the power in our hands. That's one of the reasons why created the National Partner Program, which promote the insect production in Costa Rica, with the main objective of improving the life quality of women and families in rural areas, and also increasing the community development and diversifying the national agricultural sector. According to the FAO, insects are the food of the future because they require less land, less food, less water, and it also generates less greenhouse gases than livestock. So basically, if in the next slide, we can see some picture. Basically, the insect production is a sustainable productive activity that help to reduce the environmental impact, and um, it's also a great source of protein. That means many people have access to safe and healthy food. So basically, that's it.
Okay, Natalia, what do you think about it?
Well, I think that we have the power to make change, and we are doing it right now. But we need more people doing it. That way we can have a bigger impact. However, we have to remember that climate change is not something that if we enhance our practices today, we will defeat climate change tomorrow. The climate events, the war is living today are a result of the activities done many years ago. So the climate, we will have to continue facing the climate change impacts, and that's why we also have to look for solutions to increase climate resilience in our agricultural sector. And there are many small and medium agricultural producers implementing good agricultural practices, as well as migrating to agroecological systems because those are more resilient. And among the good practices they implement are green fences, windbreak barriers, living barriers, agroforestry systems, protection of springs, rivers and streams, drip irrigation, and also channels for soil conservation, and also integrated pest management, among others. But we need more responsible producers and also more responsible consumers. That way, our debt to future generations could be reduced.
Okay, as our guest said, we have the power in our hands to change that situation. The point is that we have to start now, because if we take responsibility for our actions later, it will probably be late. So take action. Natalia and Kevin, thanks for coming and thanks for sharing with us some possible solutions that I know will be beneficial for our society.
Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope we can continue having these spaces to share best practices. Knowledge sharing spaces are key because knowledge is empowerment, and empowerment means action.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I really enjoy this podcast, and I hope this podcast helps raise awareness to save the world from climate change. So nice to meet you, and take care.
Okay, that's this week's episode of the What's New Today podcast. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode. Thanks for your listening.